This was the week where, of course, more fallout from the idiot insurrection, the Confederacy of Dunces. This was the week where Trump was impeached again. And it was still not over getting a blowjob from an intern, which has really got to annoy him at this point. Like it was helping to it was over helping to incite a riot and an insurrection from the far right, white supremacist extremists, which is a very different white stain on democracy. 10 House Republicans joined with Democrats to impeach the president, including Representative Liz Cheney, daughter of, yes, still very much alive Dick Cheney. And you know you're a piece of shit when the daughter of waterboarding, like the daughterboard, if you will. Thank you. Yes, the daughterboarding is turning on you, right? Like she's like, I'm okay with toppling other people's governments, just not at home. Don't coup where you eat.
Right. Rule number one.
Rule number one.
Rule number one of this whole thing. I mean, her father, Darth Vader, taught her very well, I would say. But that's why I'm also like, I see you, Liz, because, you know, they weren't about to let this party get taken over by this man. Like there's been too many decades of weird foreign policy and money being made off the party being run one way, that to take it to QAnon, just like rabid white supremacy with no concern for the military industrial complex excuse you? No. I will hijack the party.
Militarism attached to that. You better want a foreign war. Someone's got to make some money.
But that's why I could see her being like, you know, with being like, look, daddy's Darth Vader. I'm coming out here saying, here's the line now. This is what the party needs to be. That like she's giving some people cover to try and find their spines, to try and, you know, put this in the hands of another group of shady characters. Totally. But that was definitely like, okay, so she's making a move. She's definitely making a move out here.
Yeah, exactly. It reminds me, I was just going to continue on because pressure is coming from corporate donors and Republican PACs like Americans for Prosperity, of the Koch brothers. And they're all like reevaluating their donations. And a lot of these Republicans are losing corporate donors like flies. And once again, just like Liz Cheney is a bad sign when she turns on you, like when Comcast and Walmart are showing more decency than Republican lawmakers, like, you know, the party's really strayed from its core principle of keeping people poor.
Right.
You know? Like,
I mean, they make it rain on Nazis normally. And now they're like, is this? Well, now that people know, I mean, it used to just be like those people who were on Open Secrets and figuring out where money was going. Now it's like mainstream news. It's funny to watch these sort of like, you know, performative gut checks that they're having. But I mean, what's the over under on, you know, all of that working? Because like you're saying, you have to have a part like that is, again, it's not in their interests as a money making enterprise that's only looking at their ledgers at the end of the day and not like, you know, humanity or if they're treating people with compassion. So I'm curious what that, then they're like, oh God, I think we need to either create our own party and fund that with a bunch of like politicians or get these people back on track to be like, we're turning off the spigot if you don't clean up. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. I mean, it's like I don't want to give credit to these fucking Republicans because again, we're saying this is all just mask off of the policies they've been pushing for so many years, and this is what happens. And this is my thing about it is, we know that like far right populism, which is ultimately just fascism, it's not actual populism, it's fake populism. All that shit actually does make corporations money. They love that stuff because they can pass their $1.9 trillion tax break for the ultra wealthy. Like it all is good until, they're storming the Capitol.
Right.
Like, fuck. Like,
kind of where it all happens. I need that safe.
Exactly. That's where we're supposed to lobby. Where are we going to lobby if we can't go there? And so I'm of two minds of it because, for example, Bernie Sanders, like he's an actual populist, like, and someone like him, someone like AOC, they're never going to be propped up by any moneyed interest because it doesn't actually like you're saying outlandish shit, but you're saying outlandish shit like we should tax billionaires. And they're like, no, like, don't put that on. So media companies, investments, like there's so much money that Trump generated. And that's just not going to be there for, what I'm saying is that like right-wing fake populism makes a lot of people money. And so now they're trying to be like, oh, now we see where this fucking leads, because it's obvious where it leads.
Right. Because it's even just the way, police treat demonstrators, protesters, like if you're there actually fired up on something that's going to legitimately threaten the power of this corporatocracy, oligarchy, what have you, then you're brutalized. They know.
Right.
But then when you're out there with your face paint on and like screaming all kinds of weird shit, they're like, no, this is fine. They don't know what the fuck is up. They have no idea how to liberate themselves, because we got them on this show that they're loving right now. And the more they can go deeper down there, we don't want them to start linking up with the other poor people and start figuring out which way to direct their attention to, because then there's the problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keep it Q. Just real quick on the impeachment. So, of course, this means that it is going to the Senate for a trial. Mitch McConnell is saying that's probably going to happen not before Trump is gone. So there's going to be a Democratic, mostly Democratic and Republican evenly split Senate when this trial happens. And Mitch McConnell is saying that he might actually be like thinking about voting to convict Donald Trump, which is insane. That's a whole nother level of political calculation. And that there are maybe like a dozen or so Senate Republicans who are also willing to convict. They need 17 Republicans to vote for a 2/3 majority to convict Donald Trump. And of course, that would mean he could never hold office again, which for me is like, that behooves them so much. Like Mr. Ted Cruz, first of all, Ted Cruz is never going to vote against him, but he should, because he's going to get trounced if Trump ever ran again. He's going to lose once again to the man he consistently gets cucked by.
Yeah. And just the man you let talk spicy about your wife, still, I can't, okay. All right, Ted, that's all we need to know. But yeah, even with like that McConnell quote, right? The first one I feel like was like the New York Times on like at the end of the week. And they were like, he's pleased. The first one was like that he's pleased or something. And that he did believe that the president committed impeachable offenses, but in true McConnell fashion, never actually saying what's what or what he's actually going to do, but just signaling. But yeah, that's true. If he goes and actually supports convicting the president or the ex-president, former president in a Senate trial, then it becomes entirely much more possible that it's just not like Lisa Murkowski and diarrhea spine Susan Collins to maybe like hop in and like vote for what's right. So we'll see. But then the other part of that too is like with McConnell, that used to be his shit. Like the party was his, and then Trump came in and he had to do all this other nonsense that he didn't like doing. And so I'm sure it's weird. His calculus is like, well, he definitely doesn't want this dude back in the party, so he can kind of go back to, running shit, at least from the Senate. And then also, hopefully that will bring the dollars back that we're talking about that have so much been like, even like, but let's be real, y'all were loving it when Trump was in office. So don't act like suddenly, he's out now. Okay, the money's back. It's like you can't. These things don't square.
It's this weird game of like, who is going to have the last laugh? It's like they're both hanging from the cliff, and like who's climbing up the other one to safety, and then who's like trying to like pry the fingers off the ledge. It's like they're just in this grand tussle. Of course, the people still getting fucked over and still being lied to consistently. But it is an interesting, again, in the realm of gross Republican like elite calculation, it'll be an interesting one to watch. Hey, thanks so much for watching the Bitchuation Room podcast live stream. And while you're here, why don't you just subscribe to this channel? I promise it'll be good.